Bring it. Get jiggy with it. Get jiggy with it. What? Get jiggy with it. What? Get jiggy with it. Get jiggy with it. Get jiggy with it. What? Get jiggy with it. What? Get jiggy with it. Get jiggy with it. Get jiggy with it. What? Get jiggy with it. What? Get jiggy with it. On the runway, set, let's go. Dance, roll, bro. I know, you know, I go psycho with my new joint hit. Just can't say it. Gotta get jiggy with it. That's it. Now, honey, come ride. DKNY, all up in my eye. You got a product, bag with a lot of stuff in it. Give it to your friend, let's spin. Everybody looking at me dancing, kid. Wish they was dancing legit. Hit it with this handsome kid. City cigar right from Cuba Cabar. Just bite it. It's for the look. I don't light it. Feel way on hand, stay on play. Give it no jiggy, make it feel like foreplay. Yo, my cardio is infinite. Ha ha. Big wing style all in it. Get jiggy with 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 it. Wanna fall with the kid? Watch your step, you might fall. Should I do what I did? Mama, come on side. In the middle of the club with the rubber dub. No love for the haters. Mad cause I got 4 seats at the Lakers. See me on the 40-yard line with the Raiders. Man, I think he told me I'm the greatest. I got the fever for the flavor of a crowd pleaser. DJ play another from the president's your highness. Only mad chicks riding my wrist. South to the west, to the east, to the north. From my hits and watching go off, but yes, y'all. And it don't stop. In the winter of the I mix it hot. Get jiggy with it. 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 AKIS, if you need a map, who's the kid in the drop? Who else was milk? Living that life, some consider a myth. Rock from South Street to 125th. Women used to tease me, give it to me now, nice and easy. Since I moved up like Georgia Wheezy, dream to the maximum. I be asking them, would you like to bounce with a brother that's platinum? Never see Will attacking them, but the big ball shacking them, platinum. Sight, kid, thought I took the spell, but I didn't trust it. The lady of my life, she hit it with a drop top, with a ribbon. Real from my mom on the outskirts of Philly. You trying to flex on me? Don't be silly. Get jiggy with it.
What's up, you jiggy SFL peeps? I see a lot of you already in the house getting jiggy with it. I'm looking at all the names. I'll get to all you guys in just a second. In the meantime, though, welcome to the 22nd edition of Axis Live. I'm your host, Dave Axis, as always, and I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight. I mean, what a week 7 we had, this weekend. I mean, we had some crazy games. Yep, what's up, party people? I see you guys in the house. I'll do some shout outs here in just a minute. Let me run through the schedule real quick before I get to those. Tulsa taking it to Queen City. I don't know if anybody saw that happening. Denver goes on the road to Carolina to show that they're still one of the most dominant teams in the SFL. Chicago's still struggling over the last couple weeks with the woes going on there. Lone Star just falls short of perhaps what would have been the greatest comeback in SFL history. Las Vegas remains undefeated at home. I told you there's something special about that stadium. London, what's up, London? London's in the house tonight. London got their first W. So Portland wins last week. London wins this week. Everybody's got a W now. Jacksonville, Atlanta. Atlanta falls short in that game, but I knew that was going to be a great game, and it was. Portland not getting any love on the road after the first victory last week. Mexico City pretty much took it to them. St. Louis gets shut out at home. I'll have to talk to my boys about that. But, on Monday night, two great games that what I thought were going to be great games. Both ended up being blowouts. Looks like Louisiana easily took care of Vancouver, and Baltimore just blew out Houston in the crowd play game of the week. I think I mentioned last week, injury reports, there's just too many, and they're so random. I know I saw Jamal Wooding got hurt, just like he did in the championship game last year, unfortunately. There was a couple other guys. I think Brody Gulch got hurt last night as well. I heard DJ Moses got hurt. Once again, though, in the SFL, it does not matter because we have the greatest doctors on the planet. We have the miracle worker doctors of the SFL. Geraldo Rivera, once again, 7 straight weeks reporting Harish Watch 2020, clean bill of health. Harish doesn't get hurt again. Ray had that prediction way back at the beginning in the preseason. Sounds like, man, I don't know. Is she going to be right? Is Harish going to go a whole season without getting hurt? More to come on that over the next several weeks. Especially if Carolina makes the playoffs. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let me check the chat. Let me see who's in the house here. Let me scroll back up to the top. Who do we got? Mike Daggs. Not sure this laptop mic speaker setup is... Oh, you know what? I think this is... some reason my chat went into the other night. All right, let's see who's really... All right, I'll look for the jiggy comments because everybody said they were getting jiggy with it. Let's see. Here we go. Of course, we got Freddie in the house. Attaboy, Freddie. Tom, you better be here since you're on the show. Hugo, good to see you. Art, thanks for being in here. Who's that? Cameron Curtis. Cam, thank you, bro. Wally Herman. Woo, what's up, Wally? My owner, good to see you. Bo Martin Jr., what's up, buddy? Who else we got? Hike. Oh, that's you. Joe. Oh, John Bond, Tom Rahman. I think Tom and Ray are going to be on the show on Thursday in the After Dark portion. Clay Jones, Bob Funk, BJ Lovelace is in the house. Roberto from St. Louis. And Hall, where's your wife? I don't see your wife in here yet. Pink Lisa, though, my wife is in the house. What's up? Doug Britton. What else? Oh, there it is. Kendra Hall. Good to see you, Kendra. Kendra filling up that wide receiver spot in Atlanta with a touchdown and 100 yards receiving this weekend. Congrats to you, Kendra. Coach, good to see you. Glad to see you in there. J37. Man, we got a packed house tonight. Who else? Am I missing anybody? I think that's pretty much everybody. If I missed you, I'm sorry. I try to get to everybody. Oh, Ace, I saw you pop in there. My quarterback. No worries. All right, let's see. Let's get into these introductions for the panel tonight so we can... Dags needs a new laptop. I know he does, Frank. I scrolled back too far. That was from the last show where he was having issues. That's funny. Let me get into these introductions for tonight. Our panelists. We have an amazing panel tonight. First, we have back with us. He's a regular on the show. He's a regular contributor. He's always on the ball. He is part of Sim Scouts, Inc. and a tight end for Las Vegas. Frank, the franchise Wade, is in the house. Frank, welcome back. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing wonderful, Dave. Thank you.
I appreciate you being here. Also from Sim Scouts, Inc. And Free Safety, as well as the director of social media for Lone Star Glory, the glorious Thomas Smith. Thomas, what's going on, bro?
Hey, how you doing tonight, Dave?
I'm doing fantastic. And then we have filling in for one of the other guys tonight. He's pretty much Mr. Everything of the SFL. I mean, he's an owner, he's a head coach, he's offensive coordinator, he's defensive coordinator, he's a broadcaster, he's a contributor on this show. Eddie Gage, is there anything you don't do in the SFL, bro?
Right now, win some games.
We'll talk about that. I missed my what up, though.
What up, though?
What up, though? And then our special guest this week, the general manager and cornerback for London. And what timing is this? Perfect, Tanner, that you guys get your first W and you're on the show. London is in the house for sure. Tanner, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. Couldn't be better after this weekend, Dave.
Oh, I bet that was huge. All right, let's get to these games because there was a few games. I think we might have some. I don't know if controversy is the right word, but let's see what happens here. We've got there it is right there. Okay, so the first game. Why is that coming up? That's not the right game. Hold on a second, guys. There you go. How about that game? It'd be good if we started with the right game. So right out the box on Saturday afternoon, Queen City goes to Tulsa. Almost everybody in the league probably thinks, oh, Tulsa's going to walk in there, or I'm sorry, Queen City's going to walk into Tulsa and take care of business, like it'd be nice and easy. But Eddie Gage, that's not how things went down. Tell me about this game.
It did not. This game, Tulsa is one of the more difficult teams to figure out. They've been back and forth teetering all season in terms of wins and losses. But this game was ultimately decided in the second quarter where Gabriel Manning earned every last penny of that hefty contract of his. I mean, he's just a special teams demon, so to speak. And in that second quarter, he went off and returned 2 attempts for touchdowns and pretty much put the game away. There wasn't much scoring involved other than that, but like I said, it was just the Gabriel Manning show in that second quarter, and he went in there and dominated, does what he does. Anytime he grabs the ball, you just hold your collective breath if you're on the opposing team, hoping you can corral them, but Queen City was unable to do so, and it resulted in a loss. But other than that, Queen City, one thing I like to take away from this game, they have 4 offensive linemen, yet they cannot seem to get a running game going throughout this season. They got Jet Zero back there, converted from fullback to tailback, and they gave him 4 offensive linemen, and they have yet to progress, I'm assuming, up to, the point where Queen City is comfortable with them because they hardly even fed on the ball. And I think he had 8 rushing attempts, and they pretty much rely on the arm of A.J. Caswell, and he had 52 passing attempts. So they just put a lot of pressure on that passing game to move the ball and score points, and it resulted in 3 interceptions.
Yeah, I think Deacon Nickens has had some pretty rough games this year, so it's good to see him helping put some points on the board. 38-16, I mean, I don't think anybody saw that coming. Tulsa pretty much blowing out Queen City. Queen City was favored by 3.5 according to Jack's data. They had an over-under of 45.5, and they scored 54 points in the game, so they're within that 10 points. Who you got, though, this week? SFL Nation, we had Queen City 148-45, so over 100 more votes. So we dropped the first game of Week 7 as a group in the Who You Got. Moving on to Game 2, Saturday evening, Denver on the road at Carolina, Thomas. Was this game a little closer than you expected, or do you think Denver had it in hand the whole time?
Considering Denver was on the road and still won by 2 possessions, I think it went exactly how most people expected. Home field has really seemed to be a factor this year, and Denver went out there and showed why they're the best team in the league. Winning this by 13, they had a solid game. It wasn't really a stat stuffer game for anybody. Josh Miller had a solid game, going 21-32, no turnovers, 241 yards and 2 touchdowns. But Denver's offense mainly just managed the game, did what they needed to do. But Denver's defense definitely showed up with 10 total tackles for loss, 3 sacks. It was Like I said, it wasn't a stat-stuffing game, but it was still pretty entertaining to watch. Just seeing Denver go on the road against a well-known team that has been putting up a fight with everybody they've played this year, and seeing Denver pull out a good win there. Carolina's offense was consistent. They just couldn't really get the points going. Sully Richardson was 36 of 44 for 257 passing yards. It was a game, I agree with you, most people probably didn't expect this kind of outcome, but most people probably did expect Denver to win by at least 2 possessions.
You know, just like Queen City in the last game, not a lot of rushing in this game by either team.
Nope, not at all.
This is a theme that we've been seeing with several teams this season already. Jack's data had Denver favored by 6.5, so they more than covered. Over under of 54.5, but they only scored 33, so that was a little high. We get in the win column though. SFL Nation on the who you got 138 to 51. We took Denver to even things up on Saturday. Moving into the nighttime games on Saturday, Charleston at Chicago. Frank, Chicago having a little struggles since some things have gone on over the last few weeks. I think this is their second loss in a row. And Charleston, you know, we've been talking about them up and down all season. We thought they were going to be better, but they had the tough schedule. Now they're getting to maybe possibly a better part of the schedule for them. So are you going to see Charleston start winning like this? Because 19-13, not a very big win.
Not a big win, but it is a win, and I do see them starting to take that momentum into the next part of their schedule and start to make some changes there and progress. The winds of change in Chicago have made some drastic changes in that win-loss column. You mentioned it, 2 losses in a row. They really look like they want to feature Robert Johnson. You know, he has a good game. Robert Johnson had 28 carries for 106 yards, a 3.8 average. I mean, that's what you want in a running back. Had a rushing TD and caught 5 passes for 25 yards. But I guess, you know, Chicago saw what Jacksonville did to Charleston the week before and thought they could run, and they did a pretty good job running. But what I did notice was that their leading receiver, Davius Reed, did not register his first catch until 9 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the third quarter. And that was his only target of the game. You had James Tobin ended up with 4 catches on 64 yards. Greg Soto had 4 catches. But the absence of Reed was devastating, I thought, to the offense. The 2 quarterbacks, TD Drew and ET King, each had a completion percentage rating of 67.86%. They both had 19 completions on 28 attempts. Drew had 163 yards. King had 180 yards. The only difference here is that King throws 3 interceptions. Keith Swearingen, they tried, you know, to get him involved as much as they could. He touches the ball 25 times, 20 carries for 46 yards. Not very productive at the running back position. But what happens is you got Johnny Bravo goes off and gets 2 interceptions, and then E.T. King hits Tommy Zanardi right between the numbers. Unfortunately, Tommy Zanardi plays for Charleston, and he takes it back the other way for a pick 6. That's his first interception as a rookie, and what a way to go out by picking it off and taking it all the way to the house.
Yeah, Charleston, not much of a running game. It seems to be a theme of 4 of the 6 teams we already talked about this week. But Charleston, I have a feeling this is where they're going to start making their move. It seems like almost kind of like a horse race. We're past that back rail coming along that last turn, and I can see Charleston really making a run the rest of the season. Jack's data had Chicago favored by 3, so that didn't happen. They were really close on the over-under, though. They had 37.5, and there was 31 points scored in this game. This was tied for the closest with one other game later. Who you got? Only 98 to 82 in favor of Charleston. So we win a second one to go 2-1 so far on Saturday, going into the last game on Saturday, which I think was an amazing last couple minutes. Lone Star at Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls was really taking it to us, Tanner. And then, I don't know, we just all of a sudden woke up, touchdown, onside kick, and maybe if there's 30 seconds more on the clock, who knows what would have happened, Tanner?
Yeah, as you said, Dave, this was a crazy game. It was really dominated by Sioux Falls early in the game, but not really dominated in a typical sense. It was mainly by field goals. So we saw Sioux Falls go up early by 3 in the first, and mainly just rely on their legs to go up by 2 going into the half. The third quarter was mainly dominated by Sioux Falls, and then early in the fourth was again dominated by Sioux Falls, and we see Sioux Falls take a 16-point lead early in the fourth. And then the rest of this game was just dominated by the Lone Star offense and defense. The defense made some really nice stops, and the offense put together some good methodical drives that made this game a 5-point game at the end. Wally Herman also had 2 onside kick conversions. Had no field goals on the night, but did what he needed to with his legs. Some of the big stat getters, you saw Ace Finich throw 372 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. This game was probably the best of the season so far for him.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Hart had 18 carries for 160 yards, which averages 8.8 yards a carry, which is pretty impressive to put up against a solid Lone Star defense. But Lone Star also had 2 wide receivers go for over 100 yards and a third get 3 touchdowns. Not sure if you know who that is.
I was going to ask you, who was that got 3 touchdowns? I forgot.
I was asking you if you knew.
You know I know, baby. What's up?
So, yeah, the show host, Dave Axis, had 3 touchdowns.
Hey, I finally had a game. What can I say?
It finally took you 2 seasons.
I know, right? Hey, I'm pacing myself, bro. I'm pacing myself.
But yeah, this game was a fun one to watch in the second half, and it came down to the last minute. If Lone Star would have had 2 more plays, it could have been a different ending.
Yeah, I agree. I think I don't know what that last play we got down to was about their 40, I want to say. So man, one more timeout, maybe a few more seconds on the clock. Who knows what would have happened? We could have pulled the upset of the weekend, and possibly, like I said in the intro, I don't know if anybody's ever been down 3 scores with 2 minutes to play and came back to win, but we could have been that team. Jack's data had Sioux Falls favored by 7.5, so they didn't cover. They almost did, but they didn't. Over under 59.5. That was really close with 61 points scored in the game. And SFL Nation on a 3-game win streak. You guys have no faith in the Lone Star glory. Picking Sioux Falls 155-36. Man, it was just basically my team and our moms voting for us or something. I don't know what that's all about. Moving on to Sunday. Florida at Las Vegas. I have been saying it over and over all season long, Thomas, that Las Vegas is a totally different team at home. It's a tough place to play. The energy in that stadium is like no other in the SFL as far as I'm concerned. What say you?
I completely agree with you. I think at home is where Vegas gets it all together. They came in here and they won a big one against Florida at home. Florida's been on a little bit of a hot streak. Ron Cochran keeps gunning. Had 53 passing attempts in this game, converted 35 of them for 316 and 2 touchdowns. The killer for him was he threw 4 interceptions in this game. Optimus Klein came out big, having 10 catches for 131 yards. But the star for Florida in this game to me was the rookie first-round pick Eric Hammer. Came out, got 12 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 2 sacks. Had a huge game as a rookie linebacker. And they also had Ryan Davidson, one of their corners, had 2 interceptions. So it was a really tightly contested game. Vegas definitely showed up, though, showed a lot of stuff people didn't expect, especially with their running back, Scott Johnson, finally going off, having that huge game everybody's been waiting for. 207 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's worth noting that he had more in this game than he had in the previous 6 combined.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Go ahead.
And then for the Vegas defense, they also had another guy go off. Rhett Sawyer went off for 5 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. Rhett Sawyer's been killing it all season, so this wasn't too much of a surprise. But Vegas really won a good one at home, and I think that a little bit of that home juju showed up for Scott Johnson, and he finally had that big game.
Yeah, we've been talking about the rushing, and this is another game that I expected both rushing totals to be low. Florida was low again, and again with 4 wide receivers, they're doing mostly passing game anyway. But man, Vegas, who has been struggling in the run game all season, they just went off on Sunday. It looks like Jack's data had Las Vegas favored by 3, so they covered that. Over under 45.5. They scored almost 20 points more than that. However, SFL Nation, we took Florida 119 to 66. So we dropped down to 3-2 for the weekend. Moving on to game 2 for Sunday. Can we call it the game of the week, Frank, since London got their first victory over Arizona? What do you think?
I think you can call this the game of the week. I think they're still partying in London.
I'm sure they are.
This team has been so close on a few occasions. You knew it was going to happen sooner or later. I just didn't think it would happen this game. The first 2 offensive plays for London were sacks for the Arizona defense, and you could hear the boo birds already starting. I don't know if y'all picked up on it or not, but I could hear the crowd booing. When Robert Merrill broke for a 66-yard touchdown, the crowd was back in it for London. Even though that spiced things up, Merrill ends up with 2 touchdowns on the day, but he only has 73 yards rushing on 7 carries. Iggy Swift touched the ball more times for London. He touched the ball 11 times, 10 rushes for 23 yards. But Robert Merrill did break that long run for that touchdown. DJ Moses was having a good game, 17 carries for 82 yards, 4.8 yards a carry, and then all of a sudden he goes down on what looked like a simple just 1-yard run. He went down and he never came back in. We had to see what Ashley Jackson was going to do. They were well on their way of putting this game out of reach at that time when DJ went down. They had to rely now on Jackson and the passing game to finish out that drive. Had a chance. They were up 16-14, I believe, at this point, and had a chance to go up 23-14. But James Hands drops a sure touchdown pass. And you're thinking, okay, he'll bounce back from that. Very next play is an Ashley Jackson interception. London takes that ball, drives down the field, thanks to a Fox Highwind catch and run that got him down to the 15-yard line. And then it ends up being Robert Merrill on his 7th carry, goes in for his 2nd touchdown and puts them up. The very next play, when Arizona gets the ball back on the very next series, Ashley Jackson throws another interception. He had 5 interceptions on the day. 1 was in the first half, and the other 4 came in the second half. She completed 50%. She was 220 yards passing on 8 attempts. I'm sorry, 36 attempts. Angus McLean, I think they were calling him the Slinging Scotsman, had 19 completions on 28 attempts for 261 yards. He did throw 3 interceptions, though. First round pick. Yeah, I love Benji Matson. I think he was a great pick for London. No catches, no targets at all. The other rookie tight end, Dayton Rhodes, had 5 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. The big loss of DJ Moses. I'm sorry. DJ Moses goes down, and I believe with him out of the game, that took the wind out of Arizona, and the hometown crowd got to see London's first win of the season, 16-24.
Yeah, tough game for AJ, tough game for DJ, and tough game for Arizona overall. Jack's data had Arizona favored by 6.5, so they didn't cover that. Over under was 48.5. There was 40 points scored in the game, so that was pretty close. SFL Nation, we're not doing so great. We lose our 2nd game in a row. We had Arizona 158-34. I'm starting to see a downward trend here. Moving on to the 3rd game on Sunday. Jacksonville, Atlanta. Personally, I expected to see this closer than it was, especially with Atlanta playing at home, Eddie Gage. What happened to Atlanta in this game? Or was it just all Jacksonville?
Well, Jacksonville came out and set a tone early. Atlanta got the ball first. And Jacksonville's D-line, they put on a show early in that first series, getting to Brian Dynasty, the rookie quarterback, and got him rattled up pretty much. But it wasn't so much Hunter Noah, but Taquan Hale was going off in this game. I think he finished the game with 3 sacks. But the thing that took me by surprise with this game was Atlanta's philosophy on defense. According to Shine, Mark Chisholm, the owner of Atlanta, he's known for typically keeping both of his safeties back, to protect against the deep ball. But in this game, he deployed a cover 3 defense, and it just took me by total surprise. I did not see that coming. And I don't think anyone who knows Atlanta's defensive philosophy did either. I'm pretty sure it probably caught Frank off guard as well. But Frank came prepared. He had a versatile playbook that was ready to take on pretty much those situations, and he exploited it. Christensen, who normally, if he can go throughout a game without throwing an interception, Jacksonville is known to have pretty good success when he cannot turn the ball over. But he was able to do that. And in fact, he hit Jack Wall for, I believe it was a 77-yard touchdown early on in that game. And that just set a tone because he rarely ever touches the ball. I think on a season, he's averaging three catches a game. And he comes out, and they're usually for like 4 or 5, 6 yards. And usually when he makes a reception, that you can see in the chat that just talking about it, how they're shocked he even caught a pass. But he caught that long bomb and he was gone. And it just set the tone that Jacksonville was there to stay. And throughout, since they lost to us, they've been getting their running back involved. But he only finished the game with 18 carries. They just put this game on CC's shoulders, and he just slung that ball all over the field and took advantage and got a great win on the road in Atlanta, which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, anytime any team in the SFL doesn't have any turnovers, they're going to be in the game. Especially with as many interceptions as we've had this season. It seems like, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago, it seems like we're having more interceptions this year than even last season. Jack's data had Atlanta favored by 3.5, so they definitely did not cover. Over under 57.5, but I mean, who thinks that 70 points are going to be scored in a game? Jacksonville just putting 40 on the board. And man, SFL Nation 3-game losing streak. We took Atlanta 126-64 over Jacksonville. So that puts us under 500 for the weekend already. Moving into the nighttime games, Portland coming off a super high last week with their first W, Tanner, and you know all about this week. But Mexico City, man. Mexico City tough at home or Mexico City just tough?
I think it's Mexico City's tough at home. On top of Portland getting their first win, they're also coming down off that high. They had to come back to Mexico City and play a tough team. And it was basically Mexico City all day. Early in the first, Mexico City was dominating the game completely until Matt Wilson decides to give Portland some pity and throws a pick six. That was returned for 75 yards, give it that, by Chris Stotch. But after that, it was just the Mexico City story. They went on to end up winning the game 37-20. John Truzman gets his first touchdown, which was one of the highlights for Portland. Matt South, though, did not look good at all. Only completed 61% of his passes, 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Matt Wilson didn't look much better with only 3 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions. Phoenix Jones was really the highlight of this game with 130 rushing yards on 21 carries for a 6.19 yards per carry average. And Han Tasumi for Mexico City had 2 interceptions, which again was another highlight for Mexico City.
Yeah.
It really wasn't a story of a back and forth. It was just domination from start to finish by Mexico City.
Yeah, he's been having a season. I don't know how many interceptions he has total, but he's got to be in the top 3 or 4, I bet you, in the league. Was that everything you had? I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Jack's data had Mexico City favored by 13.5, so that was really close. With an over-under of 51.5, so they were within 5.5 points of that. And it looks like SFL Nation, we finally get back in the win column. We took Mexico City 158 to only 32. I think that was the largest margin, or second largest margin, of the entire weekend. So even though Portland comes off their first victory, not a lot of love for them going into Mexico City in Week 7. The nightcap on Sunday, Fort Worth at St. Louis. To be honest with you, Eddie, I had no idea what to think of this game. I thought these two teams were pretty evenly matched, and I think they were. I know the score shows a 2-touchdown lead for Fort Worth, but I think overall these teams were pretty even. Did you see it that way?
They did, and honestly, I'm going to say something that's probably going to shock a lot of people, but I had St. Louis winning this game, at home.
Right.
And just think about that for a moment. The fact that there are people out there, and it's just not just me, but St. Louis is starting to get a buzz. And just imagine how that team's going to be if they can keep a majority of that roster intact and those rookies progress into next season, how dangerous they can be if they keep that same coaching staff. But yeah, this was a defensive slugfest throughout. And while I anticipated a low-scoring game, I did not anticipate quite this. It was almost as if the team who scores first was going to win. And Fort Worth found a way to get a touchdown early on in that ball game, and it remained that way late into the fourth quarter when Ben Stone, my nephew, got a pick six, his second of the season. I've been in the league since season 3. I lead the league in interceptions. I don't have a single pick six. He has 2 already in his young career. But yeah, I mean, both of these teams finished. I believe Fort Worth only finished the game with 94 yards passing and 61 yards rushing. St. Louis finishes the game with 206 yards of total offense. I mean, it was just both teams were just celebrating getting a first down, for Christ's sake.
Right.
But I mean, anytime you get that kind of lack of productivity, you just wonder it's going to be that team who scores first and manages to win the game. Fort Worth did that, and they hung on to get a very impressive win on the road against a very hot St. Louis team.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say about this game. It was just close in almost every single category. Obviously, that pick six pretty much making the difference because if St. Louis continues that drive, they actually tie the ball game up. So, yeah. So, like you said, I'm on board with you. I actually thought St. Louis was going to win that game as well, especially being at home. Jack's Data thought this game was so close that they made it a pick 'em. So even Jack's Data didn't have a clue who was going to win this game. They had an over-under of 51.5, but we came nowhere near that with this defensive battle that these two teams took. And SFL Nation, we drop out again. We had St. Louis 116-74 to put us at 4-5 for the weekend so far with 2 games to play. Moving on to Monday night. And here's the thing. I thought both of these Monday night games were going to be good. Thomas, they both ended up being blowouts. Now, obviously Baltimore was more of a blowout, but I mean, I think Louisiana pretty much handled this game from start to finish. What do you think?
To me, it was kind of a disappointing game to watch. Like you said, I expected it to be more competitive, and it really wasn't. Louisiana defense completely showed up. Louisiana performed well at home against Vancouver, handling them and holding them to 6 points. I think the turnovers definitely killed the Vancouver offense. Really didn't give Vancouver any chance to really get back in this game. The lone bright spot for me for Vancouver was Kevin Brackett having 17 tackles and a tackle for loss. Some notable things from Louisiana's side. Johnny Pickler was almost non-existent in this game, only throwing for 109 passing yards. I think he ended up having like 14 passing attempts. It was just all Reggie Streeter all game long. He goes off. He extends his league lead in rushing, having 37 carries for 235 and a touchdown. Rookie Luther Gonda on that defensive line had 6 tackles and 4 sacks. And Tank Bennett came out, also had 7 tackles, tackle for loss, a pass deflection, and 2 interceptions. I delved into this game, so I wanted to do a little bit of analytics, looking at it, how we see Louisiana and Denver atop the league. So I looked at it, comparing Denver and Louisiana's games.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to debunk it a little bit.
Okay.
See which team might be the best. So I dig into Louisiana's schedule a little bit. I see their home wins. I see they beat London by 3 at home. They beat Tulsa by 3 at home. And then they beat Baltimore at home, which was a little bit of a decisive game, but you also got to put up maybe a little bit of an asterisk by that one because it was after they lost their GM and coach. Literally the week after they lost their GM and coach.
Chad.
And
yeah. Okay.
Yep. And now they their 4th win at home. They got this win over Vancouver here. But again, we saw Johnny Pickler not really pulling his weight in this game. It was all Reggie Streeter. Then you look at the away games Louisiana's had. They beat St. Louis in week 1. Now, obviously, week 1's always a toss-up. They had that huge loss to Mexico City on the road. I think they lost that game by 17 points. And then they blew out Portland, which everybody kind of expected. So you look at the schedule, and I'm asking myself, who has Louisiana played? Because, yeah, they've beat Baltimore and Vancouver, but they beat them both at home. And both of them were kind of a little bit of shaky games to me. So I still would put Denver at the top of the league, despite Louisiana with that 6-1 record.
It's interesting you say that. Who has Denver played? I think would be the reaction question to that because I thought even today, I think in Gen Chat earlier today, somebody mentioned that Denver hasn't beaten a team with a winning record this season. So maybe both of those records might be a little flawed. What do you think about that?
They beat Baltimore, and they beat Baltimore pretty. Or let me go back and check that.
Was that game in Baltimore or was that game in Denver?
Give me 1 sec to pull that. I just had that up.
Because I know, yeah, because Louisiana was at home against Baltimore, right? That was like last week or the week before.
Right, yep.
And while you're looking for that, maybe
I'm sorry. Their one loss was to Baltimore. That was Denver's one loss.
Oh, that was
and
also
then Louisiana's one loss is to Mexico City.
Okay. So I think all in all, it still sounds pretty even to me, to be honest with you, Thomas.
Now the big difference for me was you see Denver with their 2 blowout wins. They're winning big games on the road. Like this week, they beat Carolina on the road pretty handily.
Right.
And then you look at point margins, and 60% of Louisiana's point margin comes from that one win against Portland, where Denver has had 2 blowout wins over Vegas and over London, and they're usually winning all of their games pretty handily.
Well, I guess we'll know. We'll see what Slyn Shady and the crew have to say. I think it's either tomorrow or Thursday when the power rankings come out.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. In the meantime, Jack's data had Louisiana favored by 7.5, so they covered that with an over/under of 57.5. Obviously, another defensive battle that didn't live up to the hype as far as points go. This was tied. What it was the game I mentioned earlier, Charleston at Chicago, and this game, Vancouver at Louisiana, tied for the closest. Who you got? SFL Nation, we had Louisiana 108-92, puts us back in the win column and evens us up. So let's see how we go into the last game of the weekend, which again was another blowout. Houston at Baltimore, Frank. I don't know. I kind of expected Houston to be a little more competitive in this. What did you think?
I thought so too. Coming off the loss to Portland last week, I thought they were going to try to rebound. Even though this was a road test for them, I thought they would give Baltimore a better game. I not necessarily say I think I predicted Baltimore to win, but I thought it would be a lot closer. The most exciting part about this game was that I was in the money on the crowd play, but I got to see the Jack Wigmore quarterback for Baltimore make his debut. He ended up doing a good job. I think he ended up over 72%, completing 29 of 40 for 285 yards. You talked about interceptions a while ago. I did my math, and I hope it's correct. 310 interceptions in the season so far. That's still averaging just over 4 interceptions a game. And this game right here had 7 interceptions. Kentez Johnson threw 5 interceptions, and Wigmore threw 2. You had T. Roy Gaines went past the century mark again with 20 carries, 101 yards, 1 touchdown rushing, 9 receptions, and another touchdown receiving. You had Lloyd Graham Jr. with a touchdown, Chima with a touchdown, and so he was spreading the love around as best he could. There was one time, a couple times you could see that the quarterback looked like he was nervous and not sure what to do. One time he stepped up into the pocket, had a chance to run for possibly a first down, ends up throwing the ball sideways and hits some poor fan in row G. But other than that, he looked pretty good. In a losing cause. I mean, I think this game was 26-7 at halftime, and it just got worse in the second half. Ended up being 47-14. But Brody Gulch, I say his name almost every week. The kid breaks his hand, goes out of the game, and comes back in down so many touchdowns, and he's still playing as hard as he can. Ended up with 11 tackles and 1 assist. Giovanni Bolts, 3 interceptions for Baltimore right there. This game, again, the crowd play made it more interesting because everybody's answering the questions and trying to do good on that. But as far as entertaining as the game went, not very entertaining at all.
Yeah, I think it was an extremely disappointing way to end Week 7. Thank God we had the crowd play to keep us busy and win some money. I unfortunately had dinner plans with out of town family, so I missed it. So I don't know who won. I'm just always assuming that it's Dynasty and Coach winning all the money every week. So uh, Jack's data had Baltimore by 3.5. They blew that out of the water. Over under 58.5, which was really close with the 61 points scored. And look at us, SFL Nation, ending on a positive note. 167 to 24, we had Baltimore, which was the largest spread of the week, which put us at 7. Or I'm sorry, we were 7-4 last week. That put us at 6-5. So at least we got a winning record for 2 weeks in a row. So hey, yay SFL Nation. Gunny, how you doing? Are you good to go over here? Gunny, you're muted, bro.
I'm good.
You're good to go. So you can begin. Give me a second here. Whenever you're ready.
Good evening, SFL. After week 7, we have 7 home wins, 4 road wins. Congratulations to London on their first win of the season. Owner Liam, team president Angus McLean, general manager Tanner Hendricks, director of communications Benji Madison, digital content advisor Jeff Gagne, and head scout, which is now the offensive coordinator, Dustin Zek. Congratulations to all these gentlemen of the London Knights. Also, if you look at the standings, Chicago is in 7th place with a 4-3 record. Following Chicago, between standings number 8 through 20th, that's 13 teams that are fighting for playoff spots that have 3 and 4 records. Also, I looked up how old and young a couple of the teams are that I played for in the past couple of years. Lone Star has 6 rookies, 11 players with, this is either their first or second season, and we only have 3 people with more than 2 years of service. Juke and Rukin being our eldest statesman in our locker room with only 4 seasons. Chicago, on the other hand, has 7 rookies, 7 second-year players, 5 with 2 or more years, 2 players with 8 years, which is Ethan King and Clinton Hendershot, and actually Kane Rockefeller has 10 years in the league. Also, I will be talking with Cam this week about the military all-star game. That is all for now. Everyone have a good night. That is all.
Awesome. Thank you, Gunny. Yeah, I think that's a great idea that you came up with about the military all-star game in the off-season. I think it's just one more thing to do, not just for the military, but for the SFL to give us one more game to watch. So I think it's a really cool thing you're doing. Let's move on to our Diva of the Week nominees. As we know, last week we didn't have any voting. We didn't have any nominees. Rich Pratchett was the unanimous choice by everyone involved in the show. The week before that, Ron Cochran had a vote off, an extra week vote off, because he was in a dead heat with Jason Williams, and he won week 5. So let's get our nominees ready for week 7. Frank the Franchise, Wade, I'm going to start with you. Who is your week 7 Diva of the Week nominee?
All right, real quick before I give you that nominee, I want to give a shout out to former demo crew brother Jeff Gagne for his interception in that game this past weekend. I meant to say that when I was talking about that game, and I forgot about it. My nominee for Diva of the Week is he's been nominated twice before. I don't think he's won one yet, but it's Gabriel Manning. The 2 punt returns alone almost outscored Queen City in the entire game. So that's my Diva nominee.
Yeah, I think you nominated him early on. I nominated him like a week or 2 after you did, and I think in that game he also had 2 special teams touchdowns, 1 punt return and 1 kick return. So he's just tearing it up. I'd hate to see him go 0 for 3. He's been nominated the most so far. Thomas, who is your Diva of the Week, week 7 nominee?
My Diva of the Week is going to be Ben Stone, the safety from Fort Worth. His stat line was 8 tackles, 3 pass deflections, and an interception return touchdown. The diva moment for me was near the end of the game in the fourth quarter when he returned that interception for a touchdown, crushing any possible comeback for St. Louis in that shutout win.
Oh, great pick. Okay. Eddie Gage, Diva of the Week, nominee for Week 7. Who you got?
First of all, I'd like to congratulate the previous announcer for nominating my nephew, Ben Stone, for Diva of the Week. That's an excellent choice. If he wasn't my nephew, I would nominate him myself, but then there would be a conspiracy theory. So
There's always conspiracy theories. There you go, attaboy.
That's right. That's right. My Diva of the Week. Baltimore has had Joe Dazzo as their quarterback since Christ was a corporal. Back in season 3, Joe Dazzo has been their quarterback. Suddenly, out of nowhere, he decides to retire, along with his son, Mike Dazzo, leaving behind a combined 24 years of experience on that team. In steps a guy out of nowhere on a short week of practice, no time to get reps in, no time to get used to his receivers. He just had to get in there and start slinging the ball. Doesn't know the playbook yet. And what does this man do? Does he target the SFL's second most targeted receiver on his team, Irvin? No, he does not. He spreads the ball around, shows the love, throws the ball to whoever's open. My Diva of the Week goes out to Baltimore's newest quarterback, Jack Wigmore.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing what he was able to pull off. I agree with you, especially, he had some really big shoes to fill, so that was a great pick. Tanner, who's your Week 7 Diva of the Week nominee?
My Diva of the Week nominee goes out to Scott Johnson this week, who put up 207 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns on 25 carries. This man has been nowhere all season. He tripled his touchdown amount in this game alone and had over 100 yards better than his closest best game this season.
Okay. So Scott Johnson, yeah, that was good to see him do that after struggling for so many weeks. I think that's a great pick. Gunny, who you got for us for Week 7 Diva of the Week nominee?
I'm going with Joe Dazzo's replacement, which would be Alvin Mack. His debut game, he had a pick 6. The first pick 6 in a debut game since my very own teammate of Doug Day did it in Vancouver.
Wow.
Alvin Mack had 5 tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss, 1 pass deflection, and 1 fumble recovery besides his pick 6. So Alvin Mack, my Diva of the Week.
Okay. Eagle is on baby duty, so he's not able to give us his Diva of the Week nominee, so I'm going to tell you his. His Diva of the Week nominee is no other than Lone Star Glory's kicker, Wally Herman, who not only had 4 PATs, which is, just a normal game, but Wally Herman kicked 2 consecutive successful onside kicks and recovered the second one himself. I don't know if you can get more diva than kicking your own onside kick and recovering it, but that is Eagle Mondavi's Week 7 Diva of the Week nominee, Wally Herman. Which leaves me. Excuse me, I was really looking at defense this week. We had a lot of great people in the secondary, I think, that were deserving of this week's nomination. Came down to a couple guys for me. Nate Heslep from Tulsa just fell short, and I went with Jack Russell from London, the strong safety from London. He had 6 tackles, 2 assists, 3 pass deflections, and 2 interceptions, which puts him tied for the league lead with 8 overall interceptions with actually Nate Heslep. So my Week 7 Diva of the Week nominee is Jack Russell, strong safety from London. So there's your 7 nominees for Week 7. Later tonight, Eagle will have the poll up in the server, in the Access Live server. So please go in there and vote. The more votes we get, the better. We have range we have with having that many people nominated. What's Baghdad say? Dave, you said baby Doty. What does that even mean, bro? I don't even know what you're talking about. Dude, I don't know, Wink. People are saying some weird things in the chat. I don't know if anybody added Winkler in the chat at all today to come on to the show for the Axis After Dark portion, which begins right now. But if you guys have anything you want to say, and we're talking about keep it clean, don't be attacking people, don't, drop a bunch of F-bombs, whatever. But if you have legitimate things you want to talk about in the SFL, anything that the panel said tonight, maybe we missed the Diva of the Week nominee, maybe you have a different take on a game. We've talked about potential rule changes, potential changes in the league. We've talked about the draft. We've talked about a lot of things on Axis After Dark over the last several weeks. Last week, we dedicated the time to talking about Rich Pratchard. So this week, we will be back on track talking about anything you want to talk about. So if you want to be on Axis After Dark right now, if you got anything you want to talk about, to us, to me, to the panel, to the league, to the listeners, whatever, now's your time to jump on. Zach Holdorf, I love you too, bro. Let's see. Let me do it real quick too. Jack's Data Playoff Diva of the Week. Maybe we should do that too, huh? We should have Jack's Data doing Diva of the Week stuff. I'm sure Hunter has nothing else to do right now. Who else is in here? Ace, you're still in here. Good to see you, Kendra. You're still here. Good. DB the King 7. Wiggy 9800. Anyone have a link to the Axis server? I think Winkler just put it in there, bro. And Wiggy 9800. I don't know if I know who you are. Hugo, what's up? I want to talk about the field grass care at our stadium on game days. I don't know if you can talk about that on here. You got to take that up with the maintenance guy at Medal of Honor Stadium, bro. I don't know what to tell you. It looks like, Dynasty After Dark. There you go. I was wondering if Brian Dynasty was going to come on. I mean, geez, bro, you complained enough about having this segment, and now we've had it like 3 times, and you haven't been around. Everybody, Brian Dynasty, quarterback for Atlanta, is in the house. Dynasty, what's up, bro?
I know you guys, you all have your Diva of the Week nominee. I wanted to make an honorable mention, if that's all right with you, Dave.
Yeah, do your thing.
Kendra Hall. I mean, she's been a great addition since, the whole controversy losing Sean Harrelson. She's been electric for us in the return game. Caught her first touchdown this week. Want to congratulate her. Just want to throw her name out there. Keep an eye out for her, guys.
Well, just so you know, Dynasty, I actually contacted her today to confirm whether if it was her first game or second game.
Second game.
Yeah, it was her second game. If it was her first game, I probably would have nominated her. To have a first game with over 100 yards receiving and a touchdown would have definitely been Diva-ish. But because it was her second game, I gave the edge to Jack Russell. But she was definitely in the conversation, just so you know, and just so she knows. Definitely in the conversation for this week. So thank you for the honorable mention. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me on, though.
You got it, bro. Always. Anybody else? I don't see anybody else. Come on. Everybody was complaining about not having the Axis After Dark portion last week.
I think I was the loudest, though.
Oh, you were definitely the loudest, bro. But I mean, you weren't the only one. All these people saying they want to come on and talk, and now they have the chance to talk, and nobody wants to talk. Oh, Doyle, yeah, Winkler, good point. Doyle's not in here. I thought Doyle was going to come on. What happened to Doyle? I thought he was going to get his home field
extra shift at Blockbuster. Blockbuster called. He had an extra shift.
Nice. Yeah, he's definitely the Blockbuster voice of the SFL. There's no doubt about that. All right, well, geez, I mean, if nobody wants to come on, Monacanaka, what's up, bro? Good to see you. I didn't see you earlier. I must have missed you. Oh, and I see Dwayne's here too.
Is Eddie in here? I play Eddie this week.
Yeah, Eddie's right here.
Hey, Eddie. You ready?
What's going on, man? You know what,
Take
Brian?
it easy on me. Take it easy on me.
Hey, listen, man. I love you.
But
you are one of my favorite all-time Arizona players. Although you were a non-contract kicker, you were perfect throughout your tenure here, including a 48-yarder that got us 2-score lead, man. I'll never forget you, bro. You awesome with graphics. You a great inspiration in the locker room. You are always positive no matter what. I love you a lot, man. And I
But
always
it's
will.
business this week.
However,
However.
with this being the week we unfortunately have to play each other, I'm going to instruct my men to hit you and hit you hard
Oh
each and
no.
every opportunity. And hopefully after the game, we can go out and celebrate, drink a beer or something. And after Arizona win, of course.
Thanks, Eddie. My teeth are hurting already.
There you go. Exactly. Hey, real quick, Cam Curtis, are you coming on the air for your question for Eddie, or are you going to type it in the chat? Eddie, Cameron Curtis said he had a question for you, but I'm not seeing him typing. I don't see him coming into the green room. So if he doesn't come on in the next minute, oh, here it is. It says, so we were all debating in League Gen chat the other day who was the oldest active player in the league. People said you or Bovine. What do you think, Eddie?
We both came in at the same time during season 3, the first year of eligibility for a user player. So we both came in at the same time.
Okay, there you go, Cameron. There's your answer. Now I know there's still some people here since season 1, right? I think Eric, right, the coach for Queen City, and there's another coach that was here since season 1 too, I believe. Is it who was it? Do you know who it was, Eddie, who's been here since season 1?
I know TJ has been around forever. He didn't have a player though, but I know he was around.
Eric and somebody said Dwayne's saying Eric and Ronnie and Mike. What is that, like Belle Biv DeVoe or something? Who Eric? Eric from Queen City.
Yes.
Who's Ronnie?
I don't know who
like Ronnie
is.
Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. I don't know who
Mike is Mike Dazzo.
Oh, is it Daz or Dags? Maybe is it Dags?
No, not Dags. Mike Dazzo, and you can add Joe Dazzo.
Oh, Ronnie Nickens. Oh, Ronnie Nickens. He says. Yeah. Okay, all right, there you go.
That's right. He's Ronnie Nickens is also a former owner, by the way. I'm not sure if you knew that.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, he used to own a team. I believe he started off in Cleveland, and then moved the team, I think, to Vegas, and then back to Cleveland or something like somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, see, that's great about these Access After Dark segments is we learn things we never knew. I think also, I believe the other coach I think that's been here since season 1 is James Klein, isn't it?
James, I thought he came.
Or did he come later?
In season 5, somewhere around there. I could be wrong.
Maybe it's just Eric then. He might be the sole coach still from season 1. I don't know. If anybody else, let's see, Tom Rahman said maybe James Klein, but I don't know. That's up for debate, I guess. Mike is Michael Irvine. And again, I don't know who that is. Maybe I should, but I don't, and I'm sorry. SFL drunk history. There you go, Hugo. The more we drink, the more misinformation we give on the show. All right, let's see. Anybody else got any more questions or anybody else want to jump on? If not, then we're going to wrap this shindig up. I'm looking through here. I like to participate, Dave, but autocorrect jacks me up. All right, no worries. The Senior Football League, that's funny. Nope. Oh, Mike is Cam's daddy. Oh, okay. There you go.
Papa Irvine.
There you go. All right, that's good to know. Now that makes sense. The Dazzles were around for a long time, though. Yeah, that's no joke. Okay. All right. Well, that being said, I guess I don't want to hear anybody else complaining about not having the After Dark portion if I don't have it, because nobody wants to be on here anyway. So, yes,
my prayers were answered. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, bro. And just real quick though, a real quick note: we will have After Dark on Thursday. I've had a couple of the expansion team, what do you call them, applicants, asked to be on the show on Thursday. So Tom Rahman and Ray will be on talking about their LA Lycans, I believe it is now. Yeah, the LA Lycans team. So on the After Dark portion, They're going to lay out their team, their vision, and all that stuff. So if you guys have questions for them, that'll be the time to ask them. So in the meantime, thank you everybody for. Oh, no, Hunter, good catch. Did you guys talk about the playoff bracket? No, you know what, Hunter? I was looking it over. It actually didn't seem like it changed that much. The top seemed like it stayed the same with a couple teams dropping, but I'll go through that real quick. Thanks for mentioning that before we sign off. So if the season ended today and the playoffs started today, here's your seedings. Ready? The number 1 seed is the Louisiana Revolution. The number 2 seed would be Denver Nightwings. Number 3 would be Jacksonville. Number 4, Baltimore. Number 5, Mexico City. Your 6th seed would be Sioux Falls. Quite a fall for them, actually. 7 seed would be Chicago. Your 8th seed would be Charleston. 9th seed would be St. Louis, moving up 2 spots from 11. Queen City is 10th. And Eddie Gage, your team, Arizona, squeaks in at number 11. If the season ended today, if the playoffs were to start this weekend, that would be your seeding. Hunter, thanks for reminding me on that. I appreciate that. Good joke, Hugo. You're liking them talking about that on Thursday. Hey-yo, da-dunk. All right, everybody. I think that's more than enough bad jokes for one evening. Thanks for tuning in, everybody in the chat. Thank you to the panel. Thank you, Frank the Franchise Wade. Thank you, Thomas, Tanner, Eddie, and always to Gunny. Dynasty, thanks for popping on after dark. I appreciate everybody. I will see you Thursday at 9 p.m. on Twitch. Have a glorious night, and I will see you at the tees.